Good afternoon, everyone. This is Prem from Bitcoin Magazine. Today we're here in Amsterdam for the World Blockchain Summit. I'm here with ConsenSys, with Vanessa Grellet. She's the director back in the US, and I'm really having the fantastic opportunity after she had a fantastic appearance on stage to talk to her about blockchain in general. And a question I have in mind is about life after Google. Vanessa, welcome.
Thank you.
Vanessa, I would like to briefly talk about, ConsenSys in a nutshell. ConsenSys, as far as I know, is a Ethereum house, basically, where a lot of projects happened on the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum is going through a revelation of new releases of their software, and we're seeing a lot of things happening on that front. Vanessa, could you tell us a little bit about what you see in the ConsenSys consultancy part happening right now?
Sure. So ConsenSys, I like to qualify as the startup conglomerate. So we have a consultancy arm, we have a venture production studio arm, we have an education arm, and then we have a venture arm. And in the consultancy side, we see some very exciting sectors that are very dynamic. One is the healthcare sector. Second one is, of course, financial services. The third one is government. Governments are really stepping up their game in the space, and there's a lot of consortia and a lot of people coming together to create standards for governments. I personally work in social impact and luxury goods and art, which is very dynamic. So we see a lot of specific sector emerge, and we have a lot of clients who are very excited about deploying blockchain solutions.
Absolutely. So I wanted to talk about life after Google. As you know, companies like Google use a lot of big data basically to do and send me and many consumers obviously points where they're able to show what is going on, what my likes and dislikes are based on that data, on that artificial intelligence. What do you see how life after Google is going to be? Is it going to be the uprise of blockchain, or will we see basically big data still being a big player in the market to continue the growth we've seen lately?
So big data is really the fuel for AI and blockchain, and right now there's a race for AI between several countries and several companies, and that race is not going to stop because of blockchain. And the idea that consumers want to own their identity and want the opportunity to monetize their identity is a great idea. I don't know how much in reality that is true. And I say that not only, for example, in the Chinese market, where the concept of identity is not the same as in the Western world or in other parts of the world. And I say that because even through the various scandals that we've had with Facebook and all the hacks in banks, etc., there has not been a real uproar and reaction of the consumer. And so if we give them the opportunity to own their data, their identity, and to monetize it and to protect it, there may be another way than Facebook and Google, but I don't think we have come up with that solution yet. We're working on it at ConsenSys with Uport and other projects, but I haven't seen in the market, in the blockchain space, an identity solution that is sort of the killer app that everyone would move to. So I think in order for us to shift the paradigm, we would need to come up with a consumer product equivalent and as powerful as Facebook or Google or Amazon that allows you to plug and play and use your identity throughout several services. Because unless you have that, you're not going to yield the power of your identity.
I got it. So, so some kind of bad news or something should happen which will shift basically the awareness basically of the people to first to say that, hey, my identity is being exploited at one time, but at the same time also to be in a situation where we talk about malware all the time, but people, the general public is not aware that there's malware in their Chrome browser or anywhere else while they're browsing the internet. So I also believe that something major has to happen to get the awareness. At the same time, I also see that it's a long haul basically what we're all trying to achieve. Especially the people I talk to at ConsenSys, they are very much driven by bettering the world. Where is that coming from? Could you tell me something about that?
Yeah, I think, 1 billion people don't have identities in the world. That means you don't have a birth certificate, the government doesn't recognize you, you can't have access to financial services. I think that's a pretty good motivation to want to make the world a better place. And I think, impact and social impact is at the core of what we do and is really in the DNA and is a big motivation for all of our employees. And we think the technology itself is so transformational. The concepts of decentralization and self-sovereign identity are some things that are really going to change the way we interact with each other and create a trustless society where we don't need to rely on intermediaries, and we can create governance systems that run themselves and create trust. And so, technology is not going to change everything. Humans are humans. But we think that if we create some governance systems through technology, we're really going to be able to change things.
Thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming out to Amsterdam and educating us and uplifting us. We really appreciate you being out up here, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you so much. Lovely seeing you.